Welcome back, family and friends, to another episode of Wally's Smoke Shack. Today's cook is going to be beef ribs, and I am excited about this cook. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to get some seasoning on here, get it out to the Traeger smoker so we can eat. Come on over here a minute. Here's what we got. We got 2 big slabs of beef ribs, okay? You can't find this cut of meat in your local grocery store. You gotta find this at your local butcher shop. They just don't carry these cuts of meat this thick and this nice. It's also loaded with a heavy fat cap. We've got to get this fat cap off and the silver skin. If you look over here, you can see where the fat cap is, but then underneath that, you see that silver skin. We got to get as much of that off as possible. And trim it down and get our seasoning on. We are going to be cooking it on the Traeger pellet smoker. I'm going to be using a nice hickory pellet to smoke these bad boys today. And I'm going with hickory because that hickory wood, that smoke really penetrates this meat. And it's going to give it a really nice taste. And also, this is not going to be a fast cook, folks. You got to treat this meat like it's a brisket. So, low and slow. This meat is almost just like brisket meat. So you want to set your temperature on your Traeger to about 270, and you want to get that internal temperature to probably about 190, 195. And well, when we get back, we're going to start on cutting this off, getting it seasoned up, getting the Traeger fired up and ready, and I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we're back. I went ahead and trimmed off the fat cap and the silver skin on this first one because it's a little time consuming. So come on over here, I want to show you the difference here. We've got the difference between trimmed and non-trimmed. And I know you see quite a bit of fat up in here, which is okay. This is down inside of the meat. You don't want to dig down in here. You want this to have a little bit of that fat in there. And this has got some nice marbling, really. It's going to help keep that meat moist. So don't be digging and trying to get in and getting all that done. I'm going to put this over here to the side, and I'll give you a little example of how to get this stuff trimmed. What you want to do is get yourself a nice paring knife. Make sure it's sharp. And if you can see here, you can see where my fat cap is, and just underneath you can see this silver skin right here. This stuff's a pain to get off, but I'm going to show you how to do it. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and trim. Get that fat off of there. Now if you see I'm taking my paring knife, I'm going with the length of the meat. I'm not digging. You're going to watch your tip because if you get that in there, you're going to start gouging meat. So just get in there a little bit. And let's just start working this. And you can see how thick that is right there. This has all got to come off of here. You don't want too much of this meat or fat on your ribs here. It just doesn't taste good. It's not healthy. I want to try to get down to some silver skin so I can show you how to get that off. Let's come on over here a minute. Let's get silver skin. We don't have a lot of that fat. You can almost take your knife and scrape that fat off, and right there's a big chunk of silver skin. You don't want to go gouging. What you want to do is just take a little bit off at a time. So I just slip my knife under there, pull up. You're going to get some meat. Don't worry about it. It's impossible to get this stuff off without taking a little bit out. Just slide your knife under there, cut it off. Just a tip. See how I'm doing that? Off. Trim it back. Do small sections at a time, or you're going to really cut your meat up. You see how I'm taking that strip? This is about what it needs to be like. Now again, if you take some meat off, you're okay. It's not going to be perfect. All right. I'm going to go ahead and finish trimming this fat off. And when I get done getting this all off, we're going to come back. We're going to start putting our seasonings on there and getting it ready for the cooker. I'll be right back here in about 5 minutes. Well, that took a little longer than 5 minutes, but I think we got it accomplished. Come on over here a minute. If you guys remember before, this is the finished product. You're going to want to leave some of that fat in there. You don't want to gouge it too much. You want to get down to the bone. Just leave it be. You're going to have some fat in here. You got some nice marbling. These ribs are clean and ready for seasoning. Let's talk about seasoning here a little bit. We're going to use olive oil for a binder. Now, binders are good. People use several different things. You can use olive oil. People use mustard. Whatever your preference is, you're not going to taste it. It's okay. The only thing it does is put that seasoning in the meat and keeps it there. Today we're going to be using Big Rub, Texas House, and simple kosher salt. Okay. Also, I mixed up a spritz. Now, throughout your cook, you want to keep this meat moist. Okay. You're going to let it go the first 2 hours, and you're not even going to look at this thing. You're going to put it in your smoker. We're going to have the temp set to about 270, and we're going to leave it go. We're not coming back for 2 hours. That 2 hour mark, we're going to come back in, and we're going to spritz it. And spritz means all we're going to do is spray down this meat. We want to keep it moist. Now, I'm also going to have a little pan of liquid inside to help with some humidity to keep them moist. You want it moist inside that smoker. That way you're going to come out with a nice moist rib. Now the only thing I'm using for that is 50% apple cider, vinegar, mind you, and I'm also using 50% of 100% apple juice. That's all I'm using for the spritz and for my liquid to keep inside. Let's go ahead and start getting these seasoned up. You want to make sure that to get your olive oil on here, you really want to get this all over the meat. Okay? Rub it in. Make it look shiny. Okay? Sides are very important because we are going to be seasoning the sides of this meat. Okay, get these flipped over. Now remember, I left the silver skin on the back of this. The silver skin is going to help hold this meat together during the cook because it's going to get nice and tender. Get this all in there. Means that we started on the back. Let me get my hands wiped off here. Again, I don't know why I keep bringing one pair of gloves. I have everything in the smokehouse, so I need to bring it in here. All right. We're going to start off with the kosher salt first. And all we're going to do is just graciously, oh yes, you don't want to use table salt. Stay away from the table salt. Get some kosher salt, sprinkle that in there. Okay? And again, you're just going to want to pat it. Okay, you get the gist and the idea. Getting it on the sides. Okay. And we're going to get our rub. Again, same thing. Just coat it up. Be a little liberal. Don't get it on the floor because your wife will get mad at you like I just did. Of course, I'll have to clean it up, right, wife?
You bet.
Again, just pat that into there. Get the sides. You want to make sure you get all the meat covered. You don't want anything sticking out, okay? You see how that meat is already sweating and the seasoning is already starting to get inside. Okay, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. When we get this all done, we're going to get ready to take it out on the Traeger. Folks, I've been living in Kansas City now for probably about, I would say, pretty close to 27 years. I moved here from Youngstown, Ohio. I've been cooking a long time. You know, it wasn't until the fact that I moved to Kansas City and started really tasting the barbecue and the food here in Kansas City, which is just completely amazing, that I really found my love for cooking. Like I said, I've been cooking for many, many years. I just started doing this. This is fun. I just love doing it. I just love cooking. I love eating. I love feeding people. So, all right, let's get back to these ribs. We got this all seasoned up. We got it out here. We got the Traeger temp is set. Let's do a back cap a little bit. We want to make sure that our Traeger is set to 270. And these ribs are going to cook anywhere between 5 and 7 hours. Now our ultimate goal is going to be an internal temperature between 190 and 195. Remember, we got to cook these low and slow. Again, these are almost like a brisket type of meat. So that's why we have to let it cook a little bit longer. We got to break down that meat. Let's see how these look now after I got these all seasoned up. I tell you what, I just love ribs, period. We're not going to do barbecue sauce on this cook. I'm going to serve that as a side later. You want to dip these into it, that's fine. I want to get a nice bark on these ribs. And I tell you, just by sitting here looking at them, that looks great. That looks amazing. I've already got my mixture of vinegar and apple juice. Again, like you put this in here, what this is going to do is help keep your meat moist. It's almost keeping it like a humidity dome. So closing that lid, and instead of that dry heat, you're going to moisten things up. It's going to keep that meat nice and moist. Let's get these ribs on. It's going to take a few hours to cook. Temperature's already set. Now, we're going to close this down. And I will urge people, because I've done this myself many times, you can't peek when you're cooking, okay? I'm not going to open this lid back up again for about 2 hours. And that 2 hour time, I'm going to only open it up briefly, and I'll show it to you. And we're going to use our spritz and spray that meat down. And about the 3 hour mark, we're going to take our first temp. We'll see it back here in just 2 hours. All right, we're probably right about the 2 hour mark, maybe a little bit longer. We're going to come over here and check these out. And like I said, they are looking good. You see, they're kind of looking little dry spots on here. This is what our spritz is for. Get in here and soak these down really good. Man, if you can smell this, you would smell just how good they smell. Alright, we're going to come back here in about another couple hours. And by looking at these, we're probably going to be done before the 6 hour mark. So, we'll see you here in a couple hours. Alright, we're probably right around the 6 hour mark now. I just sprayed them about 30-40 minutes ago, spritzed them. Let's check them out and see where we're at now. They're looking really good. We got a nice pullback from the bone. Let's check temperatures real quick. We're looking about 160 on this one. About 170. 78. You want to check it in a few spots because you could be a little hotter in some areas than others. Alright, we're getting pretty close on this one here. And my probe goes in pretty easy. We're about 187. So I'm thinking what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pull this one off. We're going to get in the house and get it wrapped up. I'm going to check this one here again about 30 more minutes and see where we're at. And of course when we do get these done, we just can't dig in and eat. We got to wrap these up in butcher paper really tight. Put them in a cooler and let them rest for about 30 minutes. By doing that, you're letting the juices flow back up into the meat. Good deal to do. I'll see you back here in about 30 minutes. All right, we got the first one taken off and wrapped, and I've already got it in the cooler. Second one, we got about 191 degrees. And you can tell these are looking really nice, got a nice little shine on there. What we want to do is get these in, get this wrapped, and let it rest. Okay, just take some butcher paper, get it up here, and this is all you got to do. Just wrap it, and make sure you wrap it kind of snug. And I will highly recommend butcher paper. Tin foil's good, yeah, that's all good stuff. You want this thing wrapped so the heat from the meat will cool down gradually, and that meat sitting in those juices is going to suck right back up in the meat. It's going to make it nice and moist. It'll be really good. Here we go, folks, right here in a cooler. And I always go an extra step and I put a little towel in there, cover the top to really make sure that we're getting in there tight. Take a look at this. Got the meat in there. Put your towel on there. Close up shop. Set your timer for 30 minutes. We'll be right back to see how these turned out. Alright guys, we're at our 30-minute mark and I'm ready to see these ribs. I'm ready to start cutting into these. Let's get a look at these. I'm going to leave the other one sitting there until we get this one checked out. And man, I can tell you, they smell wonderful. Look at these. It's probably better to sit them up so you can see which way you're cutting on these. Man, that cut's nice. Let's do a taste. See that meat? Look at the juices in there, folks. See the juices coming out of that? That's nice. That's what we want. Now, as like I say with all my videos, we gotta do a taste test. And I bet you this is gonna be nice. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to tell my wife about this because I want to eat all these.
Hey now.
Alright guys. Another great cook. Excuse me. What I want you to do is hit that like, subscribe if you have not already subscribed, and share. Let's get these cooks out for me, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you.